My name's Trampus Newberry. I'm with Fatmansfitness.net. I almost said Fatman's self.
Fatman's, you gotta put, to say it right, or Fat Man.
Fat man.
Fatman, it's not plural. Fatmanfitness.net. And we're going to work on some self-defense. And first of all, what is self-defense? It varies state from state. What's legal in Tennessee is not legal here. And so I would advise you to get on the internet, get on Kentucky statutes, and see what self-defense actually is. But the first thing we're going to work on today is your basic face-to-face, chest-to-chest confrontation. If you ever get into a physical confrontation, 9 times out of 10 it's going to look just like this. But first of all, you have to get to this distance and what got you here. And you're going to, if you're married, you have kids, you have a job, you'll probably be busy and getting into fights unless you're fighting over Walmart parking spots. Probably be about it, unless you're into the drugs and alcohol and the selling and buying, you probably won't run into a lot of violence. But these things do happen, and so what do we do when we get to here? So something's happened, and I'm upset, Ace is upset. What happens from here? Well, the first thing you have is you have your verbal defense, and that's a distance of 5 feet or more between me and the person that I'm upset with. Okay? If the easiest thing in the world to do is not get any closer than this. It's going to be pretty obvious if I'm doing this. My intentions are pretty obvious. Okay? He knows what I'm doing, and while I'm too busy posturing up, puffing my chest out, he may just go ahead and crack me. And in real life, if you're doing the block, the trap, all the things that you see that martial arts sells, it's too late. If you have to defend yourself, you're going to have to strike first. No ifs, no ands, no buts. And that is the last thing you should do. You should be able to try to leave the situation, not get into it in the first place, but if it comes down and your temper has got you to this spot, you have to decide, am I going to attack this person, or am I going to let them attack me? If I'm not, I want to keep distance from that person. I know that sounds common sense, but a lot of times when you're upset, you're not thinking clearly. So how do I keep this? I don't want to turn my back and run. They could run after me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to face this person. And when I'm talking to this person, I know it's natural to want to do this and tell them what they've done and what I'm going to do about it, but that's not what we're going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to raise my hands. Just raise your hands. Not a boxing stance, not a karate, kung fu type of stance. Just keeping my hands up. This is going to be my monitor. This is how I judge the distance between me and that person. If you got to this part and you realize that, hey, I'm here now, so now that I've got my hands up, what am I doing? Well, first of all, you don't ever want to let somebody touch your hands, or some really great self-defense instructors, Jeff Thompson, the British Combat Association, they've been the best at describing this. They call this the fence. What do you do once you get to the fence? You don't ever let your fence be touched more than twice. If they move forward in an aggressive manner, you stop them. Even if they don't have their hands up. Let's say the guy's just walking up doing this. He's posturing. He comes up again. Second time. You don't ever let him do that after again. Twice is max. So, if twice is max, what do you do from there? Well, if we're going into a physical, this guy, I've decided that this is coming down. We're actually this is fighting. What do I do? Well, the best that I've seen from years of experience of just running around the wrong crowds, going to parties, different things, the best I have seen done and explained is by asking them a question. And when you ask that question, you don't want to ask just a simple question, like what size shoes do you wear? You just want to ask an off-the-wall question. You know, you're not asking, why are you picking on me? You want to ask an abstract question. It could be, well, it could be anything from, is your mom's name Ruth? Does your dad work over at GE? What you're doing is you're creating a pause. You want them to respond to you. You want to be in control. What we're doing during all this is we're in control, whether we're doing the verbal defense or we're on the physical defense. We're in control. And by asking that question, you're going to make them pause just for a second. You're going to have to give it just a second. And then when you do, what we're aiming for, I've taken martial arts for years. The grappling, the kickbox, all these things are great, and they're good support systems. That means when this fails, that's the backup. But we want this to lead it all. And what we're going to do is just your basic punch. Just either a right straight cross or a hook. And what we're aiming for on this is what boxers call the button. That means we're aiming for the chin, and from the chin on the side up to the ear. When you jar and rattle that, the little gray matter inside your head will shake, and them dropping is it's a high percentage shot. If it doesn't work, if you don't knock the guy down, I'll just about guarantee you've got the next 4 or 5 shots. You know, unless his buddies are jumping in, you've got the next 4 or 5 shots. So how we're getting there? So the verbal defense failed. We've come into physical. I'm keeping him monitored. I'm keeping him away. If I can't keep him away, or rather, if I really don't want to fight, because what happens is you'll study for years, and you get to the point that you may actually have to use it, and you feel like you're in the mud. You can't move. All that adrenaline, all that, the basic how we're made is you really don't want to fight, even though your temper's gotten away. So we'll move from here. Verbal defense has failed. We got to the physical. I don't want to fight them. So what do I do? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to create distance. Okay? Because our range is from this fence. It's a range finder. If I want to hit them, if I can touch them, then I can hit them. So what if we get to the point where we don't want to fight? We're going to have a chance of that. So what we're going to have to do is I'm going to have to shove him out of my range. And when we shove him out of the range, then we're going to posture, or we're going to stop. Posture is just basically blowing up. Stay back, man! I've told you to leave me alone. Okay? Now they're either going to stand there and be in shock, or they're going to come back at you. So that's posture. If you want to stalk, we're back here again. We don't want to fight. We're trying to get distance to get them out of range. Back, man! Stalking is just like an animal. If you watch animals on television hunting, they're moving. Stay right there. Don't move. Don't walk toward me. Do not cross that line. If you cross that line, I'll bite your nose off. I said don't move. Now, they're either going to stop or they're going to come back at you. If you see them coming back at you, you know what to do. You're going to have to strike. And you're going to have to hit them as hard as you can. Not kicking, not grappling. You're going to hit them. And when you're hitting, there again, we're going from the chin up to here. It's best to have a little bit of an angle. If I'm straight up on this guy, I've got his chin. Okay? That's all I got. That's a small area, but I can hit it. Of course, you know, a lot of people say, you know, don't hit with a closed fist, you'll break your knuckles or whatever. Well, that's true, but we're aiming for the jaw. A jaw is a movable object. It's not a floor or a wall. It will give. Okay? So if the chin's a small area, how do we get to a big area? All you got to do is just move around. Be conscious, instead of straight up on the guy, all you got to do is move a couple inches over. And you've got this area here. That's when if we're going to strike, we strike first. And we're going to aim right for, we're going to hit him as hard as we've ever hit anything in our life. And when we do, it's going to go right to the jaw. right to here. People get so tore up with the tunnel vision stuff, that's true. It's something that actually happens. So, we've started off with the verbal defense. We've come up to a chest on chest. You want this arm's distance. If they touch, if their forward movement is more than twice, you're going to hit them. If you don't want to fight, and you want to give her a chance to get out, then here comes the shove. The shove comes, and then you're going to posture. You're going to flare up, and you're going to lay it on. A lot of times they get what they call sticky feet. That means he wants to fight me and he wants to hit me, but for some reason he can't move. You know, it's just all taken in, and you're in charge at that point. You still have a chance to leave. I don't mean just turn around right then and leave, but you get to where they're taken back, and you get a chance to walk and keep the fence as you're leaving. Remember, the strike is preceded by the question. The only other time is when you're wanting to create distance, you're really not wanting to fight this guy, you get a chance to push them back, to create that distance. If they come back at you, that's when you throw it out. You say, well, what if that doesn't work? Well, that's life. That's Murphy's Law. Sometimes it doesn't always work. We're aiming for this, and then we're leaving. And there again, I know I talk about state laws and things, that you have a legal right to protect yourself in this state that we live in, and if it's not that, you're fighting. And if you're fighting, you're both wrong. And so I want to make sure that you check into what the state laws are, and realize, especially, and I know this website is kind of set up for, you know, the man that works every day, got kids, it's hard for them to work out. We're trying to create a site to where they can do that, have a healthy lifestyle. When you do that, you have a civil responsibility. That means when you beat the guy up, that they can sue you. They can, for money, for property. So before you hop into this instance of where you're chest to chest with somebody, you want to make sure that you're not fighting, it's self-defense. That's all I got right now.